The broadcast is now starting. All attendees are in listen-only mode.
Hello, everybody. So today is our Tower Coverage Getting Started webinar. We're going to wait just a couple more minutes here to allow some of the registered people to get in so that they can view the webinar. All right, it looks like we got some people in, so we'll go ahead and get started. So first of all, what is Tower Coverage? Tower Coverage is a website where you can quickly create RF propagation maps. We use the most updated data that we have available to us for clutter data as well as terrain data. You can see this on our wiki, the data that we use. So by all means, if you want to see more information on that, visit the wiki, and under data that we use, you can see that there. Once you create your Tower Coverage account, you will be able to easily just log in, and once you log in, it's going to bring you to your dashboard. Your dashboard contains a lot of information, how many coverages you have available, the count, how many sites you've created, coverages, multi-coverages, and so on. Any new things that you add or changes that you make will appear in your recent changes. That here in the center window, that way you can easily access them without having to use the menu bars. Once you create your account, the first thing that you're going to want to do is you're going to set up your account and make sure everything is accurate, so that way if you have public maps your company is displaying correctly. You'll want to add your users. When you add users, you can create up to 3 admins. If you wish. An admin does have full access to all of the features and the settings of your account, so be careful when making admins. If you do create an admin and they leave the company or something like that, you will have to call us to have the admin removed. The only way to remove an admin is to contact support. But other than that, you can create input users, which are allowed to create coverages, multi-maps, and so on. They cannot delete stuff, so it does have to be an admin to delete things. You can set their start page. So if you set up an account for your sales team, this makes it to where you can actually set their start page to be your primary map of your entire network. Makes it to where they don't have to find the map or anything like that. As soon as they log in, that user automatically gets directed to the page that you want them to be on. You can manage your subscription from your account menu. You can upgrade and downgrade. If you've been a Tower Coverage customer for some time, you'd be on the old process, and you would have to go remove your subscription to change it or modify it. But if you're a new Tower Coverage customer, you can upgrade and downgrade as you need. You can upload your company logo. This is used to if you do a link and you print the link, so that way you can take it to a customer's house. This allows you to have your logo at the top of the link. Your EUS settings, this is where you actually set up for your website integration that we will get to later on in the webinar. But this is where you will actually set the messages that your customers see, what the PIN says after they complete the submission. You can even set some default settings, your country and your state, so that way your EUS iframe form defaults to whatever state that you wish it to be set to. You can add your Google Analytics, so that way every time your form is used, it does update your Google Analytics as well. Next thing you're going to want to do is set your land cover settings. So one of the new things that we have added is the ability to create multiple land cover settings. So in your land cover, by default, you will have a standard land cover. So this is what you get whenever your account is created. You can change the heights and densities to fit your area. So like general heights and densities, the height is in meters, the density is a 0 to 10,000%. So for example, if we wanted to make it to where we have a complete dense land cover setting, so that way no RF propagation happens, you could actually create a land cover setting and set it all to 10,000. So on a coverage where you want to be sure that every available link that comes out of that coverage, or every area that shows on the coverage as a possible coverage area is completely line of sight, you would use the land cover settings that is max density. You can create as many as you like. You click the add new, give it a name, and you hit add new land cover, and it'll then appear in this drop down list. And then you can update them or change them as you see fit. Your overlay management is where you actually add KML overlays. So if you want to add building locations, things of that nature, you can add those overlays to be able to view them on your account. They do have to be less than 3 meg in size, and they need to be KML format, and that's due to Google Maps restrictions. And then the antenna patterns, you can add several antenna patterns, as many as you like. They need to be a radio mobile .ant file, so it'll be a radio mobile compatible .ant antenna file. If the manufacturer of your antenna, if you request it from them and they do not have it, you can download the antenna pattern creation document, and this will assist you in creating the pattern for the antenna that you wish to use. A new thing that we did add: input users and read-only users can now modify their name and their profile and their password, so the admin doesn't have to do that anymore. Once you've got all of your account settings set up, then the next thing that you need to do is create a site. A site is your actual physical tower locations. So to enter your physical tower locations, you simply need to go to new site, and whenever the page loads, you can use the Find My Location to be able to, I'm sorry, one sec. I apologize. There we go. So you can click Find My Location. This is very helpful if you're actually on a mobile device. Tower Coverage is very well optimized for mobile devices now. It'll work on Android and iPhones. So the Find My Location allows you to be standing at a tower site and click Find My Location, and it'll move the pin to very close to where you are. It gets closer on a mobile device because your GPS coordinates are actually being given by a mobile device. A computer in an office, it will get close, and it all depends on your internet provider as to where the location of your IP is actually assigned to. When you create the site, you can select the different pin colors. These pin colors can be used to identify your backbone towers. If it's a repeater location, however you wish to use them, you can use those different colors to identify it, and those pin colors will be reflected on your multi-map if on your multi-map you choose to display your pins. The description and group will also appear on the multi-map. So if you click on the pin on the multi-map, that's what these fields are used for labeling different site. You can, in your description, you can put in there what the speed capabilities of that tower location are for all the sectors. Makes it where your sales team, if a customer calls and they see that they're close to that tower, they can click on the tower pin, see what the capable speeds are without you having to have spreadsheets and everything for them to look for. Just one more thing that makes it to where you can actually display pertinent information without, and it's all in tower coverage, so that way you don't have to have multiple things open all at once. It makes it to where you can manage everything from within the system. Once you've created a site, the next thing that you're going to do is you're going to create a coverage. So your coverage list will display which tower everything is assigned to. When you're creating coverages, we do recommend that you name it something that identifies what it is. So if it's a Tower A, the north-facing sector 5 gig, so you Tower A, north 5 gig, something to that nature, so that way you can name them and identify them later on. When you're creating a coverage, the coverage creation is a very simple step-by-step. There are warnings that show. The red ones mean that the coverage will not create unless you have that field filled out. The yellow ones identify fields that the value that you have in there is an unexpected value. For example, antenna gain being 0, as you can see down in the transmission site block. It would be very uncommon for a sector to be 0 gain. So we give those warnings, but we don't stop you from making them with it. You can create a radio system. We have several radio systems already programmed in, just default ones. You can create your own radio system. When you do create a radio system, it'll populate it in this drop-down list. This allows you to create coverages much faster without having to go step-by-step through all these fields. If you have select a radio system, it'll pre-populate the values in all of these fields. So, for example, if we set this to a generic Omni setup, you'll see that it populated all of the values, all of those warnings went away. So the only ones that you have to fill out are the tower name, and you have to assign it to an actual tower. So that's the only variables that you actually have to do anything with. You'll see it takes you back to the dashboard. It shows you that it's processing, and then while it's processing, we'll actually open up a different one, so that way we can show you this. But on the once the coverage is done processing, you'll be able to go into it. It'll show you what the propagation is. You can also view the map data for any given area. So if you turn your land cover on, this allows you to see which data is being used, which clutter data is being used in any given spot. The colors that you see here directly correspond to the colors that we've seen in the land cover settings. As you can see, here is down here the different land covers that have been created for the account will also appear here. Allows you to select which land cover value that you wish to use. Once you have all of your coverages created, if you do decide that you need to make a change, and if it is the same change, so for instance, if you want to change the just the frequency of several sectors all at the same time, we have added a feature and the capability of doing so. So you will select the ones that you wish to change, and you click Update Checked. It's going to bring you to the bulk reprocess for coverages. So what this will do is the coverage the 3 coverages that I selected, if I just want to change the frequency of these, I can set this to change. So the only values for these 3 coverages that are going to be changed will be the frequency value, because it's the only one I have turned on. So I can change all of these to a different frequency. It is going to let you know that it will consume API calls. So each coverage will take an API call from your account to utilize this feature. And it'll set all 3 of them into processing. If you utilize the bulk coverage reprocess feature, keep in mind that these are low priority processes. We did that so that way if you select 100 coverages and put them all in, it doesn't stop everybody from being able to process coverages. So what'll happen, it'll take all of your coverages that that you selected a change for, and it'll put them in our queue. And when one of our servers is not busy processing something else, it'll take one of yours and process them. As you can see, they're completing as we're just sitting here watching it. But they will. The more you select, the longer it's going to take, and it will take longer for each one to process than just a normal coverage creation or coverage update. Now that they're complete, we can open them up. So once we reprocessed this coverage, if we determine that this coverage looks great and we're using this same setup throughout our network, as we stated before, the radio system is a nice way to be able to just apply settings that are seen all over your network. Well, if you didn't know what you needed to do for a setup until after you honed in your coverage and made it to where you can it's giving the propagation that you wish to see. Now that this one's really good, we've also added the feature to create a radio system out of this coverage. So instead of having to create the radio system and then find out if it works, you can create a coverage and get it all set up, get your LAN cover correct, get your tilts, your frequencies, your receiving station information, your RX threshold, everything. Once you get all of it set up, that makes it to where you can just create a radio system out of it. And you can tell the system to make that a radio system for you. So every value from that coverage was sent into a radio system. And now when I go to create a coverage, my new radio system is available. Once you have your coverages created, your next step will be to place them into a multi-map. Creating a multi-map is very simple. All of your available coverages are listed. You can use the search field to narrow down the list. So if I just wanted the ones on this tower site, I could narrow it down. I could check them all, and I can add it. So now all of those coverages are added. I will give it a map name. And then you need to decide if you want pins on your site and whether you want to use the EUS data collection form. So if you turn this value on, the iframe associated with this map that we are creating, if that iframe will display our end user submission form. If this value is off, that the iframe for this map will display the actual physical map. It will appear as a Google map frame with your coverage on it. Your map pins will not show to the customer, so you do not have to worry about that. It will just show your coverage area. And then make this map publicly viewable. What this does is adds your coverage to the tower coverage public map. You're allowed to have 3 public multi-maps for your account. If your coverage is very large, if you make 3 public maps and split your coverage down into 3, it puts a pin in the geographic center of each one of the publicly viewable maps. So that makes it to where you have a pin that covers your actual network area. So if a customer is looking for internet and they happen to stumble across tower coverage, we have a button on our homepage for Find a Provider. If they fill out our Find a Provider form, we will look and see which of our customers are able to provide service or close to provide service to the requesting customer. And we will send you a link path analysis for that customer and let you know that they filled out our Find a Provider form. This makes it to where even if you're just starting up, it makes it to where if customers come across tower coverage, you will get those leads. If you do not have a public map, you will not get those leads. So it is totally up to you whether you want to display your coverage or not, but it is a way for you to get end user submissions without them even knowing that you exist yet. So once that processes, the multi-map will not take very long. It's a collection of your coverages. That being said, keep in mind that when you update your coverages, the multi-map will not automatically update to the changes that you made for your coverage. It will only update if you update it. So you will change your coverages, and then you will have to go into your multi-map and simply just click the update multi-map at the bottom. Now that we've created a multi-map, you can see that the collection of coverages are making the propagation. We only selected the one tower, so that's the only one that's in here. And as you can see, the height, the description, and the group are in the info box for that tower location. And this is where I referred to being able to put your speeds and stuff like that. You can insert those in here, so that way that your customers have that information, or your sales team has that information. There's a test icon. This test icon, this is exactly what the end user submission form will look like on your website. The one here does not have the CAPTCHA. The one that when you integrate on your website, it will have the end user submission CAPTCHA on there. That is so that way your account doesn't get filled from a bot or something like that, scripting into the form on your website. You can use this iframe version. This iframe version does not consume API calls at all. Every time the form is filled out, this form will submit the customer's location to your tower coverage account. And then when it does, this is what they would see. This message is the message in your EUS settings that you can customize. Whenever the form is filled out, it's going to send you an email to the email in your EUS settings. You can have up to 5, and it's going to give you the 6 best possible links to that customer's location. It will just show them where their PIN is, and you can put a message that says, if you're in the green, a representative will contact you shortly, something of that nature. But they will not get a positive yes or no. You will need to contact them. Once it is in your tower coverage account, it also displays the map pins. So yellow is a new EUS system, or new EUS submission. You can view the details of it by going here, and we will go to that here shortly. But it gives you the general information, and for that EUS submission, it gives you what the best possible signal from that submission is. The iframe is located here on the right side under the website integration. As I said before, this is the iframe version. If you wanted to use the API version, you would come here to the EUS API template generator. To use this, you need to select one of your data collection maps. You will need a Google Map key. So you will need to, on your Google account, go to console.developer.google.com. Log in with your Google credentials. You'll need to create a Google Map key, and you will need to enable geocoding and JavaScript for this form to function appropriately. You can select many different things here. There's many options. This is purely a template for you. You do not have to use any, or you can use any or all of it. You can use none of it. That's totally up to you. The values must be submitted, but they can be NA or whatever you wish for them to be. This one, you notice, does not have a CAPTCHA. That is totally up to you whether you want to add a CAPTCHA to this or not. You can select your PIN types. You could even upload your own image and use it as a PIN. It's totally based on your capabilities and abilities to do web design, web development, JavaScripting, stuff like that. When you click the show code, you'll see that all of the code for this form to function appears. You copy it, you paste it into your website or into an HTML document, and you can see that the form will submit the exact same as the EUS iframe. It will submit identically. The difference is that it uses API calls from your account. So if you're at a tier 2, you get 50 API calls. If 51 customers fill out your form in a month, you're not going to receive the 51st one. Okay, so you want to make sure that you're at the appropriate tier for the size of your company and the amount of requests that you receive. On your multi-map, you will also see that there's frequency overlays. So this allows you, on your coverage, if you have the exact center frequency set, it will display if you have two sectors that are overlapping. We have link groups, which allows you to view a collection of your links. So you can create links for where the links for all your towers are, what your backbone links are, and you can label them in one color. Your point-to-point links to repeater locations, things of that nature. So this allows you to actually link your network together and actually see the point-to-points of it. Clicking on the line of any link will actually give you what the outcome of that link was. You can switch your map to many different views. We have terrain view, hybrid, satellite view, road map. We even have a go dark if you would like to be able to see it, see the coverage a little bit better. That way you can see these little tiny spots that you couldn't see if it's in satellite view. The link path analysis is essentially the same thing as an EUS submission. But it will give you the 6 best possible links to that customer location. In this situation, as I stated before, the map that we created, all of the coverages are assigned to the same tower. So, but you can actually go through and it will show you what the best, or what the signal to that individual coverage is. We also have the ASR database. So this is the FCC ASR database. So if you're looking to install a new tower or a new coverage, you can populate the ASR database. It does take a second to load, but it will load every FCC registered tower that's greater than 200 feet tall, and it'll display it on your map. Clicking on the icon gives you a link and will take you to the FCC website and give you details of who owns that tower. Once you have your end user submission data, as you stated before, in tower coverage, what you can then do is view each of those, the details of each of those. So this is the same thing that you would receive in the email as what you see here. So for example, this one here, all of the possible links for this one, this submission only has 2. There wasn't 6 available, so it shows the 2, but they're all very terrible. So I would change this to a no service pin type. So now this submission, so if we look at that submission right there, and now that we changed it, you'll see now that submission is a red X. Then in our EUS data, you can see that the red X pin types are in here. The next thing that you can do is you can create a saved search. And if you create your saved search, such as no-goes, and select only the no service pin types and submit it, it's going to return those, and it appears in our saved searches. Once you have the saved search, then you can use our best tower feature. The best tower feature, you select the saved search that you wish to create it off of, you hit create, you give it a name, you set the parameters, and then you hit create new best tower. This does take a long time to process. It is basically creating analyzing the coverage area of every single pixel point in that given range that you've provided, and determining out of all of the submissions in your saved search, how many of those submissions can get service to every single location in the search parameters. It's then going to return a map to you. This map, such as this one, this is a heat map. So this heat map displays the hotter the color, the more of those customers that were able to be reached. So what you're looking at here, as you can see, it's putting the ASR towers on there as well. But out of the 36 submitted to the best tower feature, almost all of them were able to be reached in certain locations. So as you can see, I can click on the map. It'll display the latitude and longitude location and also the address. That gives you the ability to go and find out where that is, if there's a structure there that you can install on, or who knows, the lot is for sale where you can go build a tower and use the parameters that you set. Or if you do not want to build a tower, you can just look for one of the spots that is a warmer color and simply find out who owns that tower that's already standing there. With your end user submissions as well, not only will you get the email, you can integrate your billing system into the end user submission system as well. What this does, it is called an API because it is your billing system's API. This does not consume API calls. So if you use the iframe and have the EUS billing API set up, it will not consume API calls, so you don't have to worry about not having enough calls to use the billing system. You simply put your API key and your URL. Some of them don't require a username and password. Some of them do. We integrate with many of the most common billing systems. We got, I know, VIS, PowerCode, Azotel, totally just drawn a blank, Platypus, Sonar. There's several others, BillMax. They all have integration, and they all integrate a little bit differently. So as to be able to tell you exactly what's going to happen whenever it pushes to them, it would be, sit and talk to you forever about it. But all of them integrate a little bit differently. But the end user submission data, so we push their name, their address, city, state, latitude, longitude, their phone number, the results of all of the link path results. So if there was 6 link path results in the end user submission, we send your billing system all of that data. As to what each one of them does with that data is a little bit different, but definitely integrating into your billing system makes it very, very handy. Every submission that goes through on your website you're going to receive that email. And it's also going to, whether it be generate a ticket in your billing system or what have you, you don't have to sit there and enter that customer data every single time you get a submission. You don't have to have somebody sitting there putting it in. It automatically does it for you. So another thing that we added is the feature request ability. So if you do find something wrong with tower coverage, or there's something that you're like, hey, I really love this, but what would make it better? Come here, put it in. Let us know. Tell us what you wish to have as our customers. We want to do things and improve the site that make it better for you. So if you find a bug, by all means, come here, click bug report. Tell us what you found. Tell us what's wrong. Tell us what page it was on. All of that helps us make the site better for you. Or if you just really want something, you can select multi-map and define what you want to be added to the multi-map. If you go down through this list, you'll see there are many feature requests. We determine what we're going to develop. Our developers will sit down and they will look at the list, and they will look to see what do people want the most, and that is how they determine, well, can we do that? Is it feasible? Is it possible? That's where they start development from. Some things aren't possible, or if somebody requests something, or you request something that is actually already possible within the site, you just didn't find it, we will add notes to it and let you know that, hey, that's already available, check out here. We track all these, we track who submitted them, so we know who's telling us what they want, so that way we can let you know if we do complete it. By all means, come here, use this, let us know what you want. And with that, that pretty much sums up the basics of tower coverage. Like I said before, the looking for services is on our homepage. The public map, you can view your map here. If you have any questions for us, please feel free to contact us. The information to contact us is here. You can answer a lot of questions just by visiting the wiki, which is there's a link available here, or you can turn on the tutorial. The tutorial is active, so when you change pages, the contents of this will change. Any page that you're on, all of it'll fit the page. So you can look at the tutorial and it click on one of the values. For most of the values, it'll literally highlight what the value is and give you a definition for it. This you can turn this on or off at your leisure. So if you're on the home page and then you change and you go look to a coverage, the tutorial stays up, and it, as you can see, it changed. So it if I want to know what's the map name for, what's the what do I do with the tower site, how do I set my height, what can I set it to, stuff like that. You can, if it's in your way while you're creating a coverage, if you just close it on this page, it still stays active. It disabled it so that way you could continue on with what you're doing. And then when you go back to when you change pages, it comes right back up. You can close it again if it's in your way for that page, so on and so forth. You can keep it up as long as you want, or turn it off forever, whichever you want. At this time, if anybody has any questions, please feel free, type them in the questions block so that way we can answer them. I don't see any questions thus far, so yeah, please let me know if you have any questions. Let us know. You can, if you don't think of any right now, you can like I said before, you can contact support. We're here 8 a.m. to 5 p.m. Central Time, Monday through Friday, or you can shoot us an email at support@TowerCoverage.com. I'll hold for any questions that we might get here, but if not, thank you guys for coming, and we will see you next time. Like I said, call us if you got any questions and let us know. All right. Doesn't look like we're getting any questions, so we'll go ahead and shut it down for now. But like I said, if you do think of anything, shoot us an email or give us a call.